Anyway, on to video 2. In the first video this morning, I was talking about a really bad dream I had last night that was very disturbing. Every once in a blue moon, these things come up. You know, I grew up thinking people just have dreams and they're not always, you know, usually dreams aren't great. They're usually more like, technically they would be in the nightmare category. Anyway, there was someone I talked to who's like, you know, I know this sounds conspiracy, but people can create dreams, like send them to your brain and stuff if they want to scare you or make you feel stalked or make you feel worried about your life in general. I was like, no way, because I grew up in regular land, and I wouldn't know that. Like, I wouldn't even think that. But having experienced something totally whack and crazy, I passed a really tall horse on a post back there, so horse is always a thing. Also, they're washing down the sidewalk here, so I really don't want to walk there because my Crocs are a little bit holy on the bottoms and the soles, so avoid walking on the damp pavement. So there is that weird thing of like, no way, like, what if you could be stalked for your dreams and someone's actually doing it from the material world? I got to ride in one of those red Audi station wagons that just passed by. Zipcar used to have them years ago, and I was being run around ragged, doing all kinds of things. I desperately needed to get a Zipcar for one last dog walk and visit. And I was able to pick one up close by to where I was also doing overnights, which was like, you know, a mile, 2 miles away from where I needed to be. I'm like, I can't walk this. I'm gonna have to, you know, get a Zipcar really quick to check in on this dog for the last walk. And I got into this, you know, it was a red Zipcar from Old City, and I went all the way up towards 22nd and Market from like 3rd and Arch. I guess it's more like a mile. It's hard to tell, but when you're walking or riding a bike, it's like, this takes forever. And it was the best ride of my life. I was like, I can't believe how nice this is. Had seat like leather or, you know, faux leather seats or whatever, and it was just like, oh my god. If I ever get a car, I want a little red Audi station wagon thing, Q6 or whatever they're called, or a Volkswagen Buggy, because I rented one of those. Isn't it funny when you rent cars or Zipcar them and you're like, that's a good ride, I'll take that. Anyway, are we done now, Sensei? By the way, pumpkin spice latte dropped yesterday, so the fall menu is alive and well at Starbucks, and it'll be there for a while. I think pumpkin spice stays, you know, right close to Christmas, and then they switch over to pistachio. So just doing a meandering walk this morning, and but back to the thing, how weird would it be, you know, if too many people had special powers and they could really mess you up, like terrorize you in your sleep or what have you, because they had the ability to transmit dreams or nightmares or weird things. And if you're a single female, there might be a group of people who are kind of sadistic, and they just love to take advantage of anyone who, they hate people who aren't like them. It's kind of bizarre. You know, it's a thing where you would think most people would feel sorry for people who don't always have like tons of people to support them or help them or feel protected by or whatever. But there are people who can't stand single independent people. Like, maybe they see a sense of independence. I'm not really sure. I have no clue. I just know my world got turned upside down in 2011. And we are so not kidding. It would be like an entire network of people who got a free ride their whole lives and got to act out things on the street and so forth and so on, decided to jump my ASS. We are so not kidding. And what do you do? And then it's like, if you're trying to explain this to family, and if it doesn't happen to you and if you don't know what it is, then it's hard to understand that it could actually happen, because admittedly it's like, I can't believe that all this is going on. Like, what is it? And it's not your brain. So like, some people want to quickly say, and they would be the opposition, oh well, something must be wrong with your brain. No, that's what they rely on, because a single independent person is if you're ganged up on by a very large disturbing network, like one in a movie called The Game that came out in 1997, I believe, with Sean Penn and Michael Douglas, you really are kind of helpless. And if you come from a family that wouldn't even know anything like that exists, and you're trying to explain, and they just can't even fathom, like, why would that many people be jumping someone? Like, it does something, you know, I mean, on some level, I was supported emotionally by, say, my parents or what have you, and they're like, just keep your chin up, at some point they gotta slow down. You would be surprised. Say it becomes a lifestyle, say it becomes a trend, say it becomes a movement, only it's not like there are people from all different groups doing the similar things, or they might have a specialty. So it's not like, you know, in the 60s when you had the civil rights movement, or I don't know what to say, but it's like, say you have people from all different groups, so it's not like you can easily point and say, well, they're gangsters, well, they're this, well, they're that. No. There are people who are even in opposition who are carrying out the same activities or similar, that have the same effect on a single individual. Like, they need to single out one person, and often it'll be like groups that target one person in a group. And you can see this playing out sometimes in videos, like there's one person who winds up skidding out, you know, in a group of runners, and like it seems like someone might have caused it, and it's hard to explain. And some people might be so brazen as to have videotaped a group attack on another person, or it could be hidden behind a seeming accident. But some people are trained to see that a group actually caused, and they even had a camera in place in time for a single person to experience like a weird like incident or accident, while everybody else, you know, is acting like they're helping, but really they might have caused it to begin with. How crazy is that? So anyway, here we are, walking back. We have Buckley Cable in the house. I'm not sure who uses Buckley Cable, but they're in full force today. Hanging out here by Abercrombie and Fitch. It used to be Vans, Doc Martens, Citizens Bank, and they're around the corner even in front of the building where I live now, the Latham. I would love to move eventually. There's one in front of Chase Bank, but I want to make sure I'm in a good position before I go anywhere, and lots of things to think about, like, you know, if for any weird reason I came into a more secure situation or money situation, I would want family members left behind to not be left behind. Like, I wouldn't want anyone to be hurting. Like, I would want to be available to help, and so forth and so on. Or if a lot of money came